Good morning. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. Somebody is logged into our meeting with the name Android. Can you please identify yourself for the sake of the minutes, please?
Okay, Rihanna, good morning. Good morning, everyone. It's Councillor Kannemeyer, Rihanna.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kannemeyer. I can assume that you can hear me well, but we can also hear you well. Thank you.
Okay.
Good morning, Pamela Lufele. It's Rihanna. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Good morning, Riri. Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you, Pam. I can confirm. I can also hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Christo Lamprecht. This is Rihanna Matthews. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Good morning, Mr. Christo Lamprecht. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Good morning, Councillor Meyering. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Rihanna, Councillor Meyering has just quickly stepped out. He had a phone call, but both of us are together here.
Thank you very much, Councillor Swart. So I'm going to confirm for the sake of the minutes, it's you and Councillor Meyering are using one device.
He'll sign on to his now. He just had to take a phone call, which is his connection.
Okay. No, it's not a problem. Thank you very much. Good morning, Mr. Lamprecht. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Mr. Lamprecht, can you hear me?
Hi, morning.
Thank you very much, Mr. Lamprecht. We can also hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Good morning, Rihanna, Deputy van Niekerk. I can hear you loud and clear as well.
Good morning, Alderman van Niekerk. Thank you very much for the confirmation. I was just about to call your name. Thank you very much. We can also hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Good morning, Mr. Ashik Ali. This is Rihanna Matthews. I am doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Good morning, Mr. Maharaj. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear.
Thank you very much, Mr. Maharaj. I can confirm. Good morning, Mr. Ashik Ali. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Good morning. Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good morning, Ms. Mtunzi. It's Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Good morning, Ms. Mtunzi. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you, Rihanna. Good morning.
Thank you very
Can you
much.
hear
Ms.
me?
Mtunzi. We can also hear you loud and clear. Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Leanne Allard. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me? Good morning, Ms. Allard. This is Rihanna Matthews speaking. I'm doing a sound check. Can you hear me?
I think she's still muted. I'll just ask her to see if she can hear.
Is almal in gereedheid dat ons die vergadering kan begin. Is daar enigiemand wat vir ons nog wag? Ek gaan onmiddellik die vergadering begin and I'm going to give over to Councillor Akker that will handle the first few points on the agenda. And then on point number 15, I will take over. You will see that we will not cover point 14 initially because what we would like to do is to go through the formalities by Councillor Akker, and then we're going to give the AG a chance. And then once the AG have done, they can excuse themselves and we can just then take care of the points that is not relevant to the AG office. So Councillor Akker, over to you.
Thank you, Mr. Dippenaar. From my side also, good morning to everyone. At this stage, before I do a formal welcoming, maybe Rihanna, if you can just confirm the attendance that we can make sure who are present on the meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning, councillors, officials, members of the APAC committee. Councillor Akker, I can confirm that for the combined APAC MPAC meeting dated the 2nd of December, the following councillors are present, both in the chambers and via Zoom. In the chambers, it is yourself and Councillor Malloy. Present via Zoom, we have Councillor Meyering, Councillor Swart, Councillor Tauti, Alred Lichaba, Councillor Kannemeyer. And also as a observer, we have the Deputy Mayor, Alderman van Niekerk. Those are your councillors present via Zoom and in the council chambers. If you would like for me, Chairperson, I can inform you of the officials who is here. Okay, I'll start with the APAC. Okay. Chairperson, for the composition of the APAC members, we have the following. Mr. Dippenaar inside the council chambers. Via Zoom, we have Mr. Maraj, Mr. C. Lamprecht, and Ms. Mtunzi. Those are the full component of the members of the APAC committee. We also, Chairperson, have from the Office of the Auditor General, we have Mr. Ashik Ali and Ms. Leanne Allard. In terms of our officials, Chairperson, we have Mr. Stratu, Ms. Holzhausen, Mr. De Jager, Mr. Africa, Mr. Daniels, Mr. Menze, Mr. Loliwe, Ms. Lufele, Ms. James, Ms. Simon, myself, Mr. Herman Peters, Ms. Nadima Davis, and Ms. Lauren James. These two Jameses in the council chambers. And that, Chairperson, is everybody that is connected to this meeting. I'd also like to inform you that our meeting is live streamed via YouTube as well.
Rihanna, can we deal with persons not in attendance? Did we receive any apologies? I see there's a number of members not present. Mr. Cronje, Mr. Hector Weiss.
Chairperson, in terms of the members of the APAC, Councillor Hector is not present, and also Councillor Base. I did not receive any formal apologies from those two, but the rest of your membership, Chairperson, is definitely present. He is also present, Chairperson. Yes, via Zoom.
Good. So then we are quorums on both committees, and then we can proceed. Once again, welcome to everyone, especially also the members from the Auditor General. Okay, thank you. Councillor Buys has just arrived. Councillor Chaba, do you have something to say?
Yes, good morning, Chairperson. Good morning, members of the committee, AG, and all protocol observed. Chairperson, I just wanted to say that in terms of the timing of the meeting, I just want to say it was very unpleasant that of the shortest time that we had to gather in this meeting. So I think those who are not here, it's only fair that Rihanna to give them a call as per your instructions so that we can see, you know, that this meeting was not easy to gather ourselves at this very short time of time. So if we can do that, so that at least we can see that we have made effort, as this meeting was not, it was really not, it was really in the shortage of time and in the time constraint. Thank you, Chair.
Mr. Chaba, may I just comment on that? I know the official notice was quite short, but it's quite a long time that we are aware of the possibility of one of two dates. And secondly, on the previous meeting, we already informed all staff and council members to be aware of the fact that the first week, the first few days after the 30th, we will have this meeting. So I will ask Rihanna to note your concerns about that. But from my side, I can't accept that the notice was too short or uncomfortable. So we'll note that, and thank you for the comment. Anything else?
No, thank you, Chair. No, thank you.
Chair, can I just add, at the moment, there's only one person not in the meeting, and it's Councillor Hector at this stage. So everybody's basically here. Thank you.
Okay, we have dealt with that. Okay, so since this is our last meeting for the year, I'm very happy for that. And if everyone can put in all the energy that you still have available, we can just finalize everything and get it ready for the 14th. I will come to something else when it's on the point of communication by chairs. Currently, I'm only dealing with the generic items. So we've dealt with point 10, 12, 22 thoroughly. And then the provisions of Schedule 7, the Code of Conduct, we note that, and everyone is aware of that and the implications thereof. Any disclosure of interests by anyone? Nothing? Then I will now deal with the one item, a communication by chair, and then I will give over to Mr. Dippenaar, who will do his communication and then proceed with the rest of the agenda. Since this meeting is about the AG report and the clean audit again, I think it's appropriate just at this stage to say and to state that we are very proud here in the Garden Route District Municipality. To all our staff members, the council, and I remember myself saying in a previous meeting earlier this year, in a council meeting where I was, and he's still a junior, that from my side, we never want to hear again that we did not have a clean report, and that all of us should commit to get a clean report as a thing of nature, standard thing that we want to do. And because of the hard work, and in council, I'll do that as well from my side to thank the MM, the CFO, Mr. Loliwe, especially in the way that they received me as a chair and assisting me and be kind to me and be so helpful. And I want to thank all of the staff and the council and to congratulate all of you on what we have achieved. Also on the APAC committee and what they have done. And from my side as a political person in council, I also think that it's of significance to state that we are a coalition government. And since there's so many people saying that coalitions are unstable and that's not the way to go and we can't govern, this also serves as an accolade to the coalition and the coalition council, especially the role that the mayor and the deputy is playing in keeping everything together and all of us together. So I think that's very exceptional, and I will say a little bit more on the council meeting when we present our report. But from my side, I'm extremely proud and honored to be here today. Thank you to you all. And now I hand over to Mr. Dippenaar.
Ladies and gentlemen, I had the privilege to attend the meeting with the AG when the report was presented. So without further ado, I'm going to give over to the AG office to take us through the audit report, whereafter the AG is more than welcome to excuse themselves. I know the AG office have worked hard over the last couple of months, and I believe there's some other municipalities that also still receive some attention from your side. So we have appreciation for your effort in providing the report to us and also your availability to present the report today to the combined APAC and MPAC. And we will understand that after you have done your session that you can excuse yourself. And on this stage also, I just want to wish you from our side a good holiday period and a good Christmas. Use the time to rest so that you can be fresh and full of energy to start again next year. So without further ado, the AG office, I hand over to you.
Thank you so much, chairpersons of both APAC and MPAC, and to members of the committee of both APAC and MPAC. With me today, I do have Leanne Allott, our manager on the audit. And with your permission, Chair, can we just share the audit report? Okay, so Leanne, you can maybe just share the audit report for us on screen. Thank you. As a beginning, while we wait for that just to load, I'd like to reiterate both chairpersons' sentiments and big congratulations again to Garden District Municipality for achieving a clean audit outcome again this year. And we always say that, you know, getting a clean audit outcome is one thing, but maintaining it is really something else. It really takes a lot of work on the ground. And I think that, you know, like the chairpersons have also reiterated, it has come through hard work of management, also a strong tone from management to take the Auditor General's findings seriously over the years and to have good action plans in place to really work hard towards improving the internal control environment all the time. So we'll just briefly go. So well done to the municipality and to all those involved, as well as to council and to all the committees that we have here today. I think we shouldn't also forget that the committees that we have in place form a very, very important role in terms of oversight to actually provide assurance with regard to the many processes that we do have at the municipality. There are 3 areas that we do include, Chairperson, within our audit report. The first one is around the financial statements, where we give a reasonable assurance opinion, and I'd like to start with that, see that in the first 2 paragraphs. I think the first one just deals with a reference to the financial statements and the pages within the financial statements that we've looked at. And obviously we do report against the relevant reporting standard of GRAP. So on the second paragraph, you'll see that's the most important one, where we say that the financial statements present fairly in all material respects for Garden District Municipality. So there are no uncorrected material misstatements, and it's just material, it's fair, it's free of material errors, and which means that that is an unqualified audit opinion on the financial statement. So well done to the municipality as well as to the finance team over there. The next few paragraphs 3 to 5, just takes us through some of the key elements and standards that we had to comply with, including the national standards of auditing, ethics codes, as well as concluding that we had sufficient appropriate audit evidence to conclude on our audit. Then we go to the emphasis of matter paragraphs, Chair. These are not findings, but it's basically matters within the financial statements that we would like to bring attention to the users of both the financial statements and the audit report. The first one is just the disclosed note 39, where we do have prior period error corrections that were corrected by the municipality. Then we have the material impairments, and these are all normally emphasis of matter paragraphs that you normally would highlight to the users. So just material impairments that we do have on receivables from exchange in note 18 amounting to 39 million rand. Then we always would also draw the attention of users to any contingent liabilities. And this one is in note 59, and is particularly with regard to the land dispute claim with Nice municipality that has been in the financials previously. And then just the underspending of the expenditure budget, as disclosed in the statement of comparison of budget and actuals of 88 million rand, or 17.5% of the budget. Other matters, again, these are just matters that we are not findings, but are matters that we also highlight to the users of the audit report. Paragraph 12 over there, just that pages 92 to 102 of the financial statements, which are appendices to the financial statements, are unaudited. And then the section 125 2E of the MFMA disclosures are also something that we don't audit as part of our audit scoping. We're going to skip the responsibilities of the accounting officer, as well as the Auditor General. I think those are standard paragraphs and wouldn't need further explanation. We'll go to the next part of our audit, which is the audit of performance information. And this year we looked at, we'll just go down to paragraph 20. The selected objective that we selected this year was objective 3, which was bulk infrastructure and coordination. And again, there we had no findings this year, and there were no material, any corrections made during our audit for this particular objective, and therefore we have no material findings to report, as we do state in paragraph 22 on usefulness or reliability. So that's also well done to all the staffs that are involved in performance information. Other matters, just we refer your attention to achievement of planned targets in the annual performance report for this particular objective. The last area that we're going to just speak about is compliance with legislation, which is our third focus area of the audit. And again, here, out of the compliance focus areas that were scoped in for the audit, we didn't find any material findings on compliance. So that is also well done to the municipality. There were no material findings that we had to include within the audit report for Garden District Municipality. Other information just deals with the fact that we will look through and do a consistency check on the annual report. We hadn't received the final one for check-in before our sign-off of our audit report on the 30th. So therefore, in paragraph 30, we just stated we have not received it and that we will do the check. And if normally we would just liaise with management if we do find any inconsistencies, and we are due to report back on that to the municipality by Monday for the latest. The next section that we go to is just the internal control deficiencies, and normally we would only really report any matters here if there are any audit reportable matters within the audit, and for municipality there are none. So there were no significant internal control deficiencies to report. That basically brings us to the end. I think the rest of the audit report is just an annexure dealing with the responsibilities around the financial statements and the Auditor General as well. So we wouldn't need to go into any discussion around that, Chairperson. So I will stop over there, and if there are any questions, we are more than willing to take that. Thank you so much, Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. The floor is open for any questions of clarification or any other comments.
Chair, Mr. Lamprecht here. I just want to inquire to the through you, Chair, to the AG pertaining to the fees for the year, and what can, seeing that the district municipality has got a full-fledged internal audit department, is there any way that we can utilize the internal audit department more for their reliance on the work, so that we can actually then, reduce the AG's fees? Because if you look at that, I mean, it's a quite significant amount. So maybe we can, if we can have a look at that and see if we can they can rely more on the district municipalities internal audit. Thank you.
Chair, I just want to find out on this report, it still says draft. Is this now meaning a draft or would it be finalized? It's final.
We accept this as a final report. I'm correct, Mr. Ali?
Yes, Chair, we actually did sign off on the 30th of November. I'm not sure what copy of the report the chairperson was referring to, but we definitely have signed it off on the 30th of November. I see in the latest annual report that we did receive yesterday, it wasn't included yet, the audit report itself, the finalized one. But I think that will be, I see there is a note there to say that it will be included after the APAC meeting, which is today's meeting. But it has been signed for the 30th of November. I don't know, Chair, if you want me to respond to the previous question as well around the audit fees and the reliance on internal audit, or do you want me to take more questions?
I think you can respond, and then once you have responded, we go to the MM.
Thank you so much, Chair. So just with regard to the audit fees, yes, we obviously try and year on year to see what we can do with regard to obviously firstly gaining efficiencies on our side. I think the one difficult part about I think any audit from an external audit perspective is that you would need to do a base amount of work every year. So there are aspects maybe like your business processes from your planning processes that we can roll forward, but there's a lot of work that we have to look at every year to comply with the many standards that we have to do to actually give the assurance that we are giving. But with regard to internal audit, that's definitely something we are looking at closely from office perspective. We're actually doing a national exercise at the moment to really zoom into seeing on ways that we can better utilize internal audit. We're looking at, particularly at maybe audits where it has worked well. What are the things that made it work well? One of the key things that does make it work, Chairperson, is obviously close communication and planning ahead of time with internal audit. And we do commit from our side to maybe see early on during next year, a few months before our audit, to maybe have that discussion with internal audit to see how we can then maybe better plan for the next audit to see firstly, are there any matches between the work that we do and the work that internal audit does? Something that has worked well for us is the inventory counts, which we have placed director assistance and assurance on the internal audit function for us. And that is something that has worked well and has also saved some costs and time for us as well. And also normally because that takes place at the time where we are still busy with PFMA audits, that has assisted us quite a bit. So we will obviously, there are processes in place for us to continuously look at that, Chair, to see how we can further enhance that. And that is something definitely that we do have as a focus here on our side. Thank you so much.
Chair, I just wanted to confirm now. So this draft that we received, were there any changes whatsoever on the draft as compared to the signed off? Can the committee members get a copy of the signed and dated version? Yeah, thank you.
Maybe just to explain, Ashik will talk about whether there are any changes. Good morning, Chair and members. Just to explain, when we were preparing the agenda, we had to send out the draft, but the draft is substituted by the final report that has just been presented. So what is presented here is the final report. So it substitutes the draft that we used for the purpose of the agenda. So today you are dealing with what is in front of you. Thank you.
follow up as requested by the MM. Just on to clarify the changes from the draft report.
Sorry, Ajit, you are missing us now for a moment. We have lost a little bit of communication.
No, Chair, I was just going to follow up on the MM's comments just with regard to, you wanted me to just further elaborate on whether there has been significant changes between the draft and the one that we just presented now. And the answer to that is no. There was only probably just language review edits and things like that that did between the draft and the final one. Can you hear me, Chair?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Chaba?
Thank you, Chair. Chair, mine is for the Auditor General in terms of assurance and in terms of just for the sake of understanding the methodology that they have used, and also just to get to understand couple of issues that I thought that perhaps understanding, Chairperson, that it's sample work that they do. However, looking at the AFS, just to have a peace of mind and also of clarity. Firstly, I wanted just to look at if they had any matter to Zoom. Mine is about in the employee-related costs within the AFS. In terms of the payment in lieu of leave, I just wanted to have clarity on that from the AG to say when you audited, did you audit it, and when you audited it, in terms of senior managers, do they have, are they allowed within the prescript of the legislation to have, to be able to have their payment of leave to be paid out to them, and not taking out obvious the exit, but in within, and also in terms of their in terms versus their leave. Secondly, it's about also the exit gratuity. I know that we have a policy which is fine. It's one matter on its own. However, to me, I thought it to understand in terms of whether you have checked in terms of the calculations of how did we get to have in terms of exit gratuity the amounts that we had, because according to me, when I checked, is that if the policy starts at a certain time, you only start where the policy has landed, and then going forward, meaning in this instance, what I've looked at, it looked at this matter has been done in retrospect, and I do not think that that was a good method to do. And lastly, for in terms of the basic salary for the 12 months from 2021 for the where it's 1.8, and whether you have actually checked in terms of the legislation and upper limits, and whether that was within within the upper limits, and whether the actual authorizations were done, and whether those they are in place. So basically for me, those are the ones, and of course many other, but for me, those are the critical one. I thought it as an assurance body, if we can get assurance from that. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Are they ready? AG office?
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the question around that. So yes, in terms of obviously from a financial statements point of view, I think we do quite a lot of work on the financial statements. We do give a reasonable assurance around that. So I think the member is correct. It's quite a high level of assurance, but we obviously do it on a risk basis and a sample basis. So that's basically the way that we would do it. We would assess the risk of the audit, and we'll also select samples accordingly to ensure that we get a representative view on the financial statements. In terms of HR, we did have obviously in the leave overtime and basic salaries, we obviously do work on that. And we would then look at the payments versus the policy, etc. I'll just ask Leanne as well, just to further just highlight anything else that you'd like to add to those two areas. With regard to the upper limits and the exit gratuity, and I think given some of the follow-up processes that we had to look at, we did have a technical consultation around that. And I think that was, there was no material impact for the audit report on that matter. But we are going to, there was further information that the municipality just wanted us to take back to our technical. And we were going to then take that back to the technical and then further elaborate that with legal counsel with regard to the whole process around the upper limits, etc. But with regard to the audit report, there was nothing that affected that with regard to those matters. And I just want to check with you if you want to add anything with regard to the HR testing around basic salaries, payments of leave, etc.
So in terms of the payments in lieu of leave, so we have looked at it. We haven't specifically looked at the key management section of the payments in lieu of leave, and in terms of the compliance thereof. But if it is a concern regarding that, that is definitely something we can consider. But I have no further things to add. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. We'll take your guide on the way forward if there are more questions, etc.
Chairperson.
Please continue.
Thank you. Just a continuation. Then that means then we do not have assurance based on that. Just to peace of mind in terms of payment in lieu for the management. So that we can say we don't have an assurance on that level. And then in terms of also in terms of the upper limits, also we do not actually have an outcome. It means we do not have yet, if then there is still a legal process or a legal consultation that needs to happen. So I just wanted to check that. And then thirdly, with the gratuity also, I didn't get a sense of to say whether they have done the assurance, the checking, to check whether in terms of the retrospective, what I'm talking about of allocation it in terms of retrospective. So I'm just want to confirm that in those areas, there is no assurance at this moment in time. Chair, thank you.
Mr. Ali?
Thank you, Chair. Yes, we obviously need to, just be clear that obviously we will firstly look at the compliance areas that is scoped in, and then obviously the materiality of that. And with regard to that, I think we are given assurance to say that there are no material matters from a compliance perspective, as well as from a materiality perspective for the financial statements on irregular expenditure that we need to take into account. So yes, there is in terms of the executivity, I think we definitely did include that in our consultation. There was nothing of concern that came out of that particular one. I think the matters around the upper limits, I think there was just some more information that I think the municipality, so we did do quite a lot of work on it, and we did refer that to legal counsel. There was some disagreements around that with the municipality, but there is further information that they want us to take back to council. But with regard to the assurance, I think we must just be clear that with regard to what we are looking at in terms of the assurance that we provide is there any material matters on the irregular expenditure or on the compliance factors that we need to highlight from audit report perspective. And I think we're comfortable from that point of view. So I think I'd like to just clarify that. I think the further what we can commit to is that once we do take, although there were concerns around the upper limits, as highlighted to management, we also take into account that there is things like the position paper and some more information that would like us to take back to our legal counsel for further counsel. And what we can commit is to then feed back to MPAC and APAC on what the outcome of that is once we've reached that stage, once we've taken further information. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ali. Any other hands that was raised?
Chair, Christo again.
Christo, if you can just hold back for a moment, and first we give Mr. Maharaja a chance, and then we'll come to you.
Thanks, Chair. I think from an oversight perspective, just to commend the leadership at this municipality, CFO, and other relevant officials in terms of maintaining the clean audit. As AG has said, it's difficult itself achieving it, but to maintain it is even more makes it even more special and notable and commendable. So hats off to the entity, and let's hope that they also continue the momentum in line with other municipalities in terms of achieving a clean administration and a clean governance environment. Chair, thanks.
Thank you, Suren. Christo?
Thank you, Chair. I want to concur with Alderman that spoke earlier about the issue of leave in due. I just want to ask the AG, I mean, they want a technical or a legal review, but the report is already final. So it's a bit confusing for me if they're going to want still legal opinion from head office pertaining to certain aspects that has been raised by Alderman Bishaba, and why is the report final if there were still technical issues outstanding. I also got my concerns which I raised in previous meetings, Chair, you can remember. We had a discussion about overtime and leave of overtime and payout of overtime and the maximum overtime that you can take, and can you run to 180 days or is it capped on 40 days? And I know that we request internal audit to also have a look at those things. I was also want to note that salary wages contribute, besides the capital expenditure, a huge amount of expenditure, you know, as a total of current expenses. So that should have been obviously a highlight from a risk viewpoint, because if you spend nearly 60% or 50% of your expenditure on a line item, then surely your focus should be much more to that. So I would just like the comments, and I'll raise my concerns, and I agree with Alderwoman Lishaba pertaining to her concerns pertaining to those issues. Thank you.
Mr. Ali, can you respond?
Thank you, Chair. So just to reiterate, we obviously had to then, we did do the consultation, came up with an opinion, and we had to then ascertain, you know, does it have a material impact, Chair, on our audit report? And at that point it didn't. So normally, so therefore we said we can then, so we did have a consultation that was completed before the sign off of the audit report, but it didn't have a material impact on the audit report itself. So because there are disagreements from management around that, we will then, in this case, we can then still further discuss it and take it back to technical if there is further evidence that that the municipality or management would like to then respond and allow a legal counsel to look at. So remember, we have to take it from an audit report point of view, and there were no material matters, therefore we could conclude on the audit report based on that. I hope that clarifies just the process around the audit report. I'm not sure if management would also like to comment on those matters.
We give over to the MM.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you for the comments. Firstly, on the upper limits issue, the audit is correct that we, as management, actually put it in front of them that there were certain allegations that were put, and they looked at them. They've dealt with the exit gratuity, it's not an issue. The issue about the upper limits has become transversal. It's not a cut and root matter anymore. And we have informed the AG that the Office of the Premier is obtaining a legal opinion on all the notices that have been issued by the National Minister of Culture, because it doesn't affect this municipality only, it affects the whole country. There are a lot of issues that are involved there. So that matter is engaged on. And as the auditor is saying, whether their technical inquiry now that they are going to do comes back negative or positive, it does not have no impact on the audit opinion because it's immaterial. So the audit report in front of you is final and clean. And as far as was concerned, the issues that are being raised were audited. And I just want to emphasize the point as well that this council has adopted a certain position on these matters, and those who have been communicated to the auditor. That's why they took the matters for technical consultation, and they've come back. They're not material. They don't impact on what has been reported today. When the Premier obtains their legal opinion, we have agreed with the auditor that we will send it to them as well, because it's got an impact on the whole province and may have an impact on the whole country. So when you look at this thing of the upper limit, it's not something of cut and root, it's something for the country. We're dealing with it in our own institution in the way that has been reported. In terms of the other audits that are being mentioned about overtime and so on, as far as we're concerned, the AG has applied its methodology on everything that needs to be audited, and this is the outcome that has been presented in front of you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, MM. Is there any further comments or questions for the AG office?
Chair.
Please continue.
Thank you, Chair. Chair, I just want I have my reservation, as I've said, because I thought it at least whether these matters technically they might be positive or negative. I just think in terms of the AG as the assurance body for us, it would have been good first to conclude the matters so that, because that's how, whether we don't know whether they're going to be material in nature or not when they come out. But I do understand that perhaps because of time constraint, but at the same time, Leanne confirmed that they didn't do the management payments in LEU. So already that for me, it says we might not necessarily have had an assurance on that area. So even though others that they have done, they are not material, I understand. But also from our side, understanding that we are standing, ensuring that when we go to the public, as the public is looking at the oversight from an oversight perspective as the members, to say that everything that is been signed off and all what we have highlighted it was meaning it was audited or there was an assurance into it. So I just thought it is critical for us that those areas, if it's a national matter, then it's also good so that we also have clarity on these matters. But from where I'm standing, I just thought that the AG having a technical matter not concluded, I think it was a bit premature to sign off, because whether it's going to be material or not, it is still need to be decided. So on that note, I have my reservation. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, already duly noted. I think the process will in any case continue because the municipality is a living being, and when the continuation of the work of the MPAC as well as the work of the APAC, these kind of items stay on the agenda to make sure that anything that still need to be sorted out gets sorted out, and if there's a need to report back on anything, then there is appropriate mechanisms and structures and procedures that we can still deal with it. But thank you for your comments. It's highly appreciated. Is there any other comments or questions to the AG office? It seems not to be the case, so it just leaves us to say thank you to the AG office and go and have an excellent holiday, and we will understand if you excuse yourself. So appreciation, Mr. Ali, to you and your whole team, and we have appreciation for the good working relationship between yourself and your team and the Gardner District Municipality. We thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Just appreciation from our side as well. We are available if there are further interactions that are required. And then just to further reiterate that we did have an opinion on the technical consultation, and there is a disagreement obviously between ourselves and municipality. So it's not that we didn't have a conclusion on it, just to assure the member over there. But normally in that case, if it doesn't have a material impact and there are further disagreements and there are maybe we do need to if there are further evidences, I think we will take that forward for management to further take that back to legal. So I just want to re-clarify that point to ensure that there was a conclusion before the sign off of the audit report. But there was further evidence, the request for further evidence and further legal opinions to be taken into account, which we will then take forward, and we can then commit to MPAC and APAC to further report back on that.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, then just to conclude the matter on the final audit report, there is a report that was also prepared on page 18. I don't know if the municipal manager would like to add anything because we are now working not with the report on the draft audit report, but the report on the final audit report. And we take note of the comments that was made by Elder Lady Chaba, as well as the comments made by Mr. Lambrecht as part of our discussion. I'm not sure if the MM would like to say anything in conclusion regarding the report on the final audit report for the garden route.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to highlight the point that it's not the first time that we conclude the audit report with the AG with a matter that is not material, that has not been concluded. It's not the first time that we are in disagreement with the AG on anything, and it's not the last time. Just to remind those that have been here for quite some time, we had a long disagreement with the AG on the BAC interpretation composition that caused us a lot of irregular expenditure. We did receive our audit outcomes. We got our clean audits last year with that matter being resolved. So it's not the first and the last time that there are disagreements. And secondly, as the AG has said, every matter has been put on the table, has been discussed, and what is left is what is left, because we have explained that this is the position, and they have said this is what they have got, and they are continuing. And we have agreed with the AG to continue engaging on the matter. And we have been transparent to them to say, we are aware, we are bringing to attention that, for instance, the Office of the Premier is also obtaining legal advice on all the notices that were issued, because there's a view that all of them are actually illegal, invalid, and have no force or effect from ab initio in terms of the compliance issues. And those are the matters that are being dealt with. And so we are grateful to the Office of the AG. Thank you very much for the report. And thank you for the comments from the members in terms of the outcomes. As everybody knows, it's not easy to sustain a clean audit, especially for us this year, as is clear. There were many things. We are still going to deal with some in the agenda. There were many things that have happened, and it is only because we are committed to professionalism and clean governance that today we stand and we sit in front of you and we present a clean audit outcome, even under the circumstances that have prevailed during this year. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, MM. And I think we have all made our compliments to you and your team for making this possible. That concludes our discussion in terms of the audit report. And I take you back on the agenda to point 14 that deals specifically with the minutes of the meeting of the 29th of August. That was the meeting that deals specifically with the draft annual financial statements before it was presented to the AG. It's on page 4 to 12. I'm not going to go through page by page, but the floor is open if there is any comments or anything in the minutes that is not correct or is not correctly stated. Then the floor is open for discussion in terms of anything that you have picked up in those minutes that you do not agree with. Floor is open for any comments.
I just wanted to check, Chair, do we still have the members of the AG, or have they been excused? I'll please like to speak after they come.
Chair, there was one item that I need clarification on, and that is items 3 and 5 on this recommendations. I think it's page 8. On page 8, where it says the exit gratuity policy be referred to council as soon as possible, with special emphasis placed on the interpretation. And in 5, the waiver application and approval for the appointment of the municipal manager be submitted to MPAC. Now, I just want to get, because there's some confusion between this minutes and some of the other minutes. And if I'm right, I think council did deal with it. And maybe we can just get clarity on that point.
Thank you, Chair. You will excuse me. I was not present in the previous meeting. And I would like to take this opportunity to raise a certain points with the meeting. Firstly, Chair, I need to disclose that personally, there are issues here that I feel are being weaponized. And there is, I submit, Chair, abuse of processes and offices. The first thing I want to disclose to you, Chair, for the record, is that I have disclosed the chairperson of the MPAC and the MPAC in the previous meeting, that everything that Councillor Chaba raises that affects me personally, I take it as a continuation of her personal attacks on me. This is based on the fact that, Chair, there is on record a formal complaint that is in the Speaker's office that Councillor Chaba personally has put against me. And I have spoken to the Speaker, to the
Chairperson.
I'm not quite sure
Chairperson.
at the moment.
Chairperson, an objection. Chairperson, an objection. I would like to put an objection. Here we are dealing with minutes. I don't understand why the municipal manager is going to be dealing on other matters that do not require this platform. It disturbs me because he is now, I feel it's again, now he's been victim, that is being victimization now, because he has nothing to do with this meeting. We are dealing with matters of minutes. We must be dealing with minutes, not being able to be telling matters that do not require this meeting, Chairperson. I object to that. And I find it very offensive because it's not that meeting here.
Chair, may I just clarify? My question is only about whether that 2 points are correctly minuted, because I have doubt about it and I'm not sure. So I'm just raising the question, whether it is correct or not.
I'm dealing with those points, Chair, as I did at MPAC. And I would like you to allow me to deal with them, because I want it for the public record. Chair, those points were raised by Councillor Richard. And those points continue to be raised by Councillor Richard. And I'm telling this meeting that they may be legitimate or not, but I'm telling this meeting that Councillor Richard is motivated by ulterior motives, because she has a complaint against me. And I want that to be recorded. That complaint remains unresolved. So everything that comes from her that affects me, I take it because I take it as a matter of grudge.
Chairperson, I'm feeling attacked in this meeting.
Coming to the actual minutes.
I'm feeling attacked, Chairperson. I'm feeling attacked in this meeting.
I'm going to allow the MPAC Chair to respond to that, because
I'm feeling attacked in this meeting.
Yes.
And I'm noting it.
Yes. I'm just
because no one is protecting me here. I'm doing my oversight work and then I'm being told about ulterior motives.
Elder Lady, I'm just going to answer to the MPAC Chair, because you are a member of the MPAC.
Yes, Chairperson.
Okay, Chair, can we just quickly deal with it? So can we just go back to my question? I'm not sure, maybe someone can help me, because there's 2 minutes. I don't think whether I've got the council meeting minutes or this one in mind, but there's a conflict between these two, I think, and that's my question. If you can just respond to that, leave the Java thing out for a moment and just respond to that. Thank you.
Chair, the issues that have been singled out and put in front of this meeting or the previous meeting are matters that are part of the allegations that were put against the municipal manager. Those allegations, all of them, were presented to council. Council interrogated all the allegations and made a finding on all of them that they were unfounded and dismissed them and decided that the matter is closed. I reported that to the chairperson of the audit committee when we first met, and that matter was communicated to all members of the committee. Now, when the meeting of the MPAC and APAC met, these matters were again brought back on the table individually now. After council had dealt with these matters, and the members of MPAC are the very members of the council that had dealt with these matters in that process. MPAC has then met in its own meeting and said it had misdirected itself to deal again with the issue of the issues that are raised there, the exit gratuity, the upper limits waiver and everything, and rescinded its resolutions to deal with this matter, including on the interpretation of the waiver, the gratuity policy. In its meeting, MPAC has resolved to rescind those decisions. That is why the chairperson of MPAC is asking today, because this was a combined meeting. These matters, MPAC must then align its recent decisions and these matters that had been brought into the agenda of the combined meeting. So the point was that the matters that MPAC dealt with had not been referred to them. They were not dealt with by the MPAC. Council was seized with the matters. It was reported that it was agreed that anything pertaining to these matters must be brought to council, because there is a process between council and the provincial government that also has an impact on these matters, and therefore MPAC had not been mandated to deal with these matters. And in some way, these matters were then brought into pieces and put on the agenda as single items when they were part of the whole package of allegations that were dealt with by council and with all the councillors present. That is why when I opened this submission, I say it because I know that there is an agenda, and I am telling you for the record, Chair, because it's based on the fact that there is a formal complaint for my dismissal by Councillor Lichaba from council. And I'm not accusing anyone. I'm just telling you the facts. It is there. And if committees of the council oversight and everything are going to be used for personal attacks, because when I was not present in the previous combined MPAC APAC meeting, these things were said in my absence, and that is why we have these minutes. I did address these matters at the MPAC meeting. Members of MPAC can agree with me. We addressed these things, all of them, and they are back today. Thank you, Chair.
Let me ask again. Let's
Chairperson. Chair.
Just give me a chance. I'll come back to you.
Okay.
Let's leave the situation of the complaint to the outside for the moment. My question is very simple. It's actually an easy issue. So it's about the dates. So this meeting took place on the 29th of August. It is minuted here, and maybe Rihanna can be of assistance. Are you writing this minutes? It's a clear, simple thing that I'm asking. So there it was minuted. The exit gratuity policy be referred to council. That's the one point. So the question is simple. Did we refer it to council? That's the first thing. The second thing is, or was it dealt with previously? So I'm not sure at this stage. And then the last point, the waiver application was made to be submitted to MPAC. I think we did receive it or not. So that's the two simple questions that I have.
Chair, can you give me an opportunity?
Let's just quickly deal with what I've asked now and not confuse it with something else, and then I'll give you a chance again on that.
Chair, sorry, Chairperson. I think what I'm going to say is going to give a bit of clarity.
In fact, we can't speak together. You have spoken 4 times on this now. I'm doing my second time. Let me just quickly deal with what I have asked. I've asked this question, and then I come back to you and give you the opportunity again.
Okay.
On the 29th of August, these were the recommendations that was formulated by both the MPAC and the APAC. The reports or the waiver application and the exit gratuity policy, as the NMS mentioned, has been sent to province for a legal opinion. But at that meeting, the members stated that they want it minuted. And that is why it still appears here, Chairperson.
And then on that point, so, and then after that, we had a meeting, an impact meeting, for which we are still waiting for the outcome of the minutes. We are waiting for that. Okay, thank you. I think my question has been answered. Mrs. Lechaba, back to you.
Thank you, Chairperson. Chairperson, I thought it is fine. I thought it missing of events here. The reason why those points are there is because for the very first time, we got ourselves to get a draft annual report in a combined meeting between APAC and MPAC. Now, our responsibility of oversight is to interrogate that report. Now, in that report, it came out when we look at the draft annual financial statements. One, it came out that we were concerned about the gratuity. Now, because for the first time, we are seeing numbers. It means now we're dealing technically to say, how did we get to have those numbers? What does the policy say? What does it mean in terms of this calculation? Then when we all deliberated, then we said, then obviously there is a shortfall in the policy itself and the application of the policy. And then as a combined meeting, we said, let it be noted. Then that is why it was there, because we were dealing with the content that it was front of us, which was the financial statement. Same with the waiver. The waiver, it was, we looked at the what you call it, we looked at the upper limits. We looked at the and then we said, but was there a waiver that was given so that if we go above the upper limit, because we must get that authorization from the Minister of COGTA. Now, the question was that, was there on the year 2021 a waiver that was given? And I think that is also what is the technical part between the municipality now and the AG to take legally. So those are the things that we said, but we were dealing with the content of what we got that day. And that is what we are supposed to do as an oversight committee. Other matters regarding the legal matters that perhaps the provincial government through the environment and COGTA, that was an inquiry. But however, Chairperson, it doesn't take away the responsibility that we have as the committee to review and to check. That is why, because we are an assurance body, even though council has dealt with matters, but because that is the same reason things come to APAC and MPAC, is to give assurance that council, you have taken the right decision, or council, there is an oversight, or there is something that you didn't look at, and therefore this is what we are pointing out. Now, as that committee, where we're sitting as a combined, we have said that there is something in that policy that council needs to review or council needs to look at, because it leaves gaps that at the end of the day, there is a interpretation of the application, then it becomes not good or good. So that were the concern. So that is why, Chairperson, we have put it where it is now.
Okay, thank you. I think I'm going to rule as follows now on this matter. I'll give you a chance. The information that the MM and Mrs. Lechaba gave us now is actually not relevant at all to the point that I've raised. I've just asked the questions that Rihanna now has confirmed, And as far as my question is concerned, the minutes is correct. That's all that I wanted to know. And we can't allow this item to be discussed here now because it's not on the agenda. We are still waiting for the minutes of the previous MPAC meeting, and on that minutes and on that meeting, we can deal with this matter further. I think it's improper to deal with this whole situation and in the way that we are dealing with it now. It's not on the agenda, and that was not the main point that I'm raising. Mr. Loliwe, is there anything else that you wanted to add? Because I'm not going to conclude this.
I think you have covered.
Chair from MPAC. May I speak?
Who's speaking now? Well,
Christo, yeah.
To me or to Mr.
I would like to speak to you, Chair of MPAC. The factual issue of the matter is that the minutes are correct. And I don't know why we have a discussion. The next point at the next meeting will be that what we submitted, was that referred to council? Did they discuss it? And what was the outcome? That's the question that we ask at the next meeting. But the minutes as we see it now, point 3, point 5 is correct. And that's why I concur with you, and let us move on, because we don't need to get political. It's a factual basis that these minutes are correct.
Yeah. Mr. Loliwe, one short chance for you, because then we're done.
No, thanks, Chair. I think I'm covered in terms of the approach going forward. But I think on the side of the administration, we have a duty to always advise, because we do take the minutes seriously and we must act on them. And I think we did the same in the previous MPAC meeting where this was discussed. Just on point 5, the application that is requested by council, by MPAC, is the application of waiver of 2021. We did inform MPAC at that stage. Waiver applications are not done annually, are done on appointment. The waiver applications that were done in 2017. Therefore, it is impossible to bring this to actually implement resolution number 5, because there will be no waiver application. And what the MM said is that this whole process, then it's linked to the financial misconduct allegations that is coming from 2017, because that waiver was done there. And that process went through to council, where council took a certain decision in terms of the process itself. So from the administration side, we are not disputing the correctness of the minutes. But what we're saying is that at that meeting that took these minutes, we did inform the committee that it would be impossible to implement some of the recommendations, like recommendation number 5, because it's not there. And it's by law, it's done once in a term or when you are appointed, not every year. Thank you, Chair.
So why is it not possible then to present the one of 2017?
Chair, that can be presented, but what the MM explained now, that was presented at council. The council dealt with it when they were dealing with the allegations and everything, because the allegations are actually stemming from that. And council took a decision when a report was presented to council with all those applications, all those waivers, then the council dealt with it. But what MM is saying now, the MM is saying that then the MPAC is using this platform to review the decisions of council. I think that's what he's trying to say. And he's saying that is not correct. But if that what this MPAC wants, even against that advice, I think it's something that can be done. But at that meeting, because they were looking at the financial statements of the current financial year, the waiver application that was requested was based on those figures, was for that particular year. That's then when we said we cannot have that waiver, because it's only done once a year, and it's a waiver for the term, not every year. Thank you.
Okay, so I think what we can do, Rihanna. Mr. Tauter, welcome on the meeting. I think we are, no, you were here. I was thinking of Mr. Hector. Apologies. You're welcome. You may proceed.
Yeah, Chairperson, I'm a bit disappointed. My hand was raised long ago. And I don't know if you can't notice it or don't see it at all. And I wanted to speak long ago, but in fact, you at the end say the thing which I wanted to say, and also the gentleman Crystal also said the same thing. This minutes is 100% correct as it is there. And I don't need to repeat what you say and what the other guy said. The other issues which was brought in by the municipal manager in when that discussion starts, that's none of this. We shouldn't entertain that now currently. We should just make sure that the minutes is correct as it is. And that is what happened at that meeting. It was proved. And then I don't want to be rude and just start speaking. I will always raise my hand, Chairperson. Please look out for that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Apologies for that. What we see in front of us is the name of the person speaking. So now I saw your hand and your name, but when Mr. Lamprecht was speaking, we couldn't see that. So apologies for that, but Rihanna is looking and she's scanning and she's assisting when she sees it. So I think for now, I'm happy that if someone wants to propose the correctness of, I'll give you a chance, Rihanna. Is it the hand again? I'll give it a chance now. So if we can then accept this meeting and ask MM or Mr. Loliwe just to submit that, just to give us the documentation. What I want to be sure of as chair, we say we want to give things to the council. We want to have a certain document. I just want to make sure that we did that. So I can now go back to my own minutes of the council meeting, and there I will see what you said to me. I just want to make sure that that because there is a lot of animosity involved here, that we see the correct documents. So I will go back to my minutes of the council meeting and I will confirm there that it has been dealt with. But if this is what was minuted, then it's what was minuted. Let me first give Mrs. Lechaba a chance and then yourself. I'm not going to allow 7 opportunities to each person to speak on the same matter. So, Mrs. Lechaba, please, this is your last turn on this topic, and then also your last turn on this topic for now, because I believe dealt with when we approve of the meeting followed on this one.
Thank you, Chair. No, I just I think your ruling is fine. I'm okay with it. It's just I want to put my dissatisfaction of not protecting me in this meeting. I'm very disappointed. I'm very disappointed that I'm not being protected while I'm doing my work, and I'm seen as if I'm a weapon. Those were the things that were said in your meeting, and you didn't even protect me. I'm very disappointed in that. We're in the time of activists, 16 days of activism, and this is what I have to enjoy in this meeting. All I wanted to say, it was that, Chairperson, the reason why it's correct is because it comes out from 2021, and there is that amount that it just needs just an attachment, and that is why I'm saying that, Chairperson, it is correct. But I'm very disappointed, I'm very hurt, and you didn't protect me in this meeting. I'm very disappointed.
Thank you, Chair. I just want to assure yourself and the chairperson of the audit committee and members that I didn't just want to dispute the content of your minutes. I'm not dealing with the content. I'm sorry if that is construed that way. I was not present in the meeting. I cannot dispute the minutes. All I wanted to put in front of you is that this thing is not as it looks. It's quite complicated. And I requested you in your MPAC to present this. I did. The only thing I want to put again is that these things are aligned. There are current decisions that MPAC has already taken again on the same issues. So there is a lot of back and forth that is conflicting. But Chair, I'm sorry if I made everybody to think that I'm questioning the correctness of the minutes. I was not present in that meeting. I cannot say those minutes are wrong, but I'm obliged to bring to your attention that these matters have been dealt with in other forums, and there are a lot of conflicting things. I'll just make one example. You have rescinded as MPAC a certain decision on the graduate, which here you want management to send to council, because you've already rescinded that in your MPAC meeting, although the minutes are not here. Now, I want you to be aware that there are those things that these minutes expect us to take a policy to council. In the other meeting of yours, you've already rescinded that. So those are the things I just wanted to bring to your attention. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you to both of you. Just to comment on that, Mrs. Lechaba, I just want to be very careful about the period of activism against violence being raised when we differ or discuss matters in council that has nothing to do with gender-based violence or things like that. I think that's unfair. Secondly, I did protect you. I gave you the full opportunity, and the way in which we dealt with the matter and the decisions that I made to stop the discussion at this stage, I think I did assist you. And the matter is not finalized. We will deal with it. That brings me to your comment. Thank you for that also. The thing is, we haven't approved of that new minutes yet. So once we have that minutes available and approve of that minutes, I believe then we can deal with the discrepancies between the minutes that I also experience here. So thank you for this opportunity. I think it's not a problem to be robust in our discussions, and especially between when politicians are involved. I think politicians should have a thick skin or some skin of steel. Sometimes I think it's a little bit unfair to the officials, but you are used to that as well. And I don't have a problem if we differ. We need to keep it decent. And that is the reason why I've dealt with the situation as I've dealt with it now. When we get that later minutes, we will deal and finalize this matter in a correct way. Thank you for that, Rihanna. Mrs. Lechaba, is this on the same matter now? Mrs. Lechaba?
Yes, Chairperson.
Now, because we have now concluded, is there something new that you want to add? That's not already been raised?
No, it's fine. But I'm not accepting your comments, Chairperson.
Thank you.
I'm not accepting. I'm not.
Good. Mr. Matunzi? Miss Matunzi, sorry.
No, that's fine, Chair. That's fine. Thank you very much, Chair. For me, it's just a proposal. I was going to suggest that in future, maybe we should have a section where we deal with matters arising from previous minutes.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that. Please, Rihanna. Actually, on all minutes, I think, of all meetings.
Thank you, Chair.
Should I go
Chair,
back?
Chair, Mr. Lamprecht again.
Yes, Chris.
If I may.
Yes, you're welcome.
Thank you. I think the confusion is that this 0.3 and 0.5 was not aimed at a specific person. It's rather a policy that needs to be rediscussed at council. That waiver thing is obviously, we can't rescind on it now because rightly the MM said it's 2017, but I think what we try to say in 0.5 is that we need to look at that from a policy viewpoint going forward, the new MM or another senior manager of the municipality, that we need to make sure that this is properly discussed at council. That is, I think, it's about the future, it's not about the past. I just want to clarify that. I think that is what actually was said at that meeting.
Yeah.
Chairman. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Christo. I agree with you in 50% for going forward. But what I personally want to do is just to get the correct documentation that I, as a chair, can make sure that we have dealt with this items as we have decided or decided on a follow-up meeting. That we just make sure that items minuted are not dealt with. I just want to make sure on that as well. Rihanna? Yes, Mrs. Lechaba? Okay, thank you.
No, thank you, Chair. Sorry, it was an old hand. Sorry.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen, thank you. That concludes the discussion on the minutes. We have two more points. The one deal with 1512, the deal with the report on Operation Clean Audit. The items in that report was dealt with thoroughly during our discussion with the AG. So I make the recommendation that we note the contents of that report because it, as mentioned, it was already discussed. And the second point is 1712, that deal with the reports of the impact on the annual report, as well as the APAC report on the annual report. As far as APAC is concerned, and the chair of MPAC can respond in terms of impact, the draft report of the APAC was submitted to all the audit committee members. So if you have any further inputs, because a number of APAC members have already made comments in terms of APAC report that will go into the annual report. But if you have any further comments in terms of the APAC report, if you can submit that to me, please, no later than coming up Monday, in order to finalize the APAC report that will go in as part of the annual report that will be presented to council for final approval. So if I can make that request to the APAC members, go through the draft report, give your comments by Monday, and then before I send it through, I will then circulate it to everybody for final comments. In terms of MPAC, I'm going to hand over to the MPAC and also ask the MPAC chair to close the meeting after you have made the call in terms of the MPAC oversight report on the annual report.
The impact report will be circulated. The impact report will be circulated today. And then I think, if I'm correct, Rihanna, we have scheduled a meeting to approve of that on Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, because 3 of the members are in Cape Town on a SALGA obligation. So most of us will be on Zoom, but that is scheduled for Tuesday afternoon at 4 o'clock, and it will be circulated today. So as far as this meeting is concerned, I want to thank everyone for their contribution, and again to express my gratitude for having this clean audit report again. And we will deal with outstanding matters in the meetings when it comes up. And with that, MM, do you want to say something?
Yeah. Just to inform maybe members of the MPAC and APAC that we had prepared a presentation on the annual report, but we may just circulate it to the members. We are prepared to present it, and we would then that it be minute for the record that the annual report was presented to the MPAC and APAC.
Okay, so then this concludes the meeting, and thank you to everyone, and have a nice weekend, and the reading through the impact report as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.